Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
It's a bit wet and windy up here, mate.
Don't forget, whilst you're waiting for the show to start, hit that share button, hit that like button, and if you're not already subscribed, please do. We'll be live at 2 PM. That's 4 minutes from now. Well, well, well. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben. How
Yeah.
are you?
I'm okay, and it actually sounds like it might have died down slightly where you are.
Slightly, maybe.
It's raining heavy, and it's a beautiful for the ASMR community, I would say.
Yeah, just as long as you weren't expecting people to be licking ears.
But they make special microphones in the shape of ears just for people to do that. It's really weird. And they're really, really expensive, aren't they, John?
Yes, they are. Now, to be fair, I don't think the microphones are actually designed for licking. The microphones are designed to pick up audio as a human would.
Right.
But these ASMR people have decided to use them to lick the ear. But I don't think they were designed with that purpose in the first place. I may be wrong, but I think they were designed for binaural beats and things like that.
Yeah, they're called binaural microphones, aren't they?
Yeah.
And these weird ass people, especially on TikTok, they go and buy these things. They got the shape of human ears, and they just sit and lick them on camera, and it's really odd. But you know, to each their own, as we would say. To each, if you want to watch someone suggestively licking a fake ear, and that's how you wish to spend your time, hey, we're not here to judge you. That's not what we're here to do. We might mock you, we might laugh at you, we might make fun of you, but we're not here to judge you. Anyhow, before we do move on, I would like to wish a wonderful, a happy, a joyful Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, to anybody in Mexico. And like you're laughing, John, but it's a very joyful occasion.
I'm laughing because I feel I'm going to have to apologise to the Mexican and Spanish community for your assassination of their delightful language.
Dia de los Muertos. Hey, at least I tried. All right? At least I tried.
You are very trying.
Yes, I am. I'm very trying. And, you know, as somebody who has been doing this with me for over a year and a half, you know this more than most. And with that, John, introduce the show, if you can, from a very rainy Scotland.
Oh. Yes, I'd like to thank you, one and all, for attending this, episode 154 of Chasing Dissent Live, from me, the man, formerly in the van, and now hunkering in the bunker, as you can hear, and from Ben on the south coast of this once proud land they call England. It's episode 154.
Well, we haven't changed the intro, as you can see, because we're lazy. It's that simple, isn't it, John?
Yes, we are lazy, and DW says I seem quieter. Have you turned my audio down?
I've turned it up, actually.
Oh, you turned it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your levels
Yes,
are good.
now DW.
Your levels are good. Your levels are
Right.
good.
Okay.
And I would like to also welcome one and all. I can see a bunch of people in the live chat saying hi, so hi to all of you, and thank you once again for coming to listen to us have a laugh at the news. We really do appreciate it. And speaking of things to laugh at in the news, John, where are we going first?
Well, we have no option but to start with Rishi Sunak.
Yes, with the installed Prime Minister of this once fair land we used to call England, as John would say. Not the elected Prime Minister, the installed. He wasn't even elected by his party members, for God's sake. But he was big on this over the last week or so. I'm not going to attend COP26. Or 27. I'm not going to attend the climate summit. He even stopped Theresa Coffey, who is food and climate secretary, from attending cabinet. He said that position won't attend cabinet anymore. It's not the most important thing going. And then the media pounced, didn't they, John?
Yeah, so he's just another puppet, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's bowed to media pressure. Oh, I'm going to COP27 now. I'm going because the media told me to. I'm going to do it. You're a weak-willed, limp-wristed specimen.
And he gets to sun himself for, a week in Sharm el-Sheikh. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Well, let's be fair, he could do with a good tan, couldn't he?
Oh, for God's sake, here we go. 2 minutes into the show, and we have crossed the threshold. The thing is, he clearly doesn't want to attend this. He is just weak-willed, as you said. He's a puppet. The media, the mainstream media, specifically have bullied him into doing this. And what this tells me is this man cannot lead a government. This man cannot run the country because he made a decisive decision. He got a little bit bullied and he's changed his mind.
It's the start of the pattern, isn't it? The pattern seems to be you make a decision.
Yep.
You chum on that decision.
Yep.
You then fire someone.
Yep.
And then your government falls.
Yeah, so Suella Braverman will be the one, won't she?
Yeah. Yeah, she'll go next, and then his government will fall, and then we'll have Keith.
Ah, Keithy boy! Hello, my name's Keith Starmer. I'm going to be your Prime Minister because you're going to vote for me, but do you think you're going to get a better life? No, you're going to get more of the same, peasants. More of the same. And
well, having said that, though, I mean, they did say today that they reckoned Rishi's stealth tax will cost the middle class, if there is a middle class, which at the moment the middle class seems to be the people that aren't quite in poverty yet.
Right.
But it's going to cost them about $3,500 a year.
Yeah.
So
austerity is back.
Unless you're very well off, your Conservative government is not going to do anything for you.
No.
And I'll tell you this, your Labour one's not going to do anything either.
No, of course they're not, because they're going to go, well, there is no money. There's no money.
You better go looking elsewhere.
You should, and if I were a business, especially a major business, I would be looking at relocating right now under these new plans. I would be looking at getting out as quick as I can, and like we said on yesterday's show, they seem to be doing absolutely everything they can to promote destruction rather than growth, because who wants to invest in a country that's raising taxes?
Well, I mean, it's not the way about causing economic growth. It's not going to work. I mean, and then we're going to get a housing
crash.
Plummet. It's not even going to be a crash. It's going to be a plummet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I mean, the countries, you know what? In some respects, it might be better if Putin just launched that bloody big nuclear torpedo and put us all out of misery right here, right now.
Well, this is one of those rare occasions where we're going to disagree, John. I quite like being alive. I do. I quite like being alive. Yeah, you do. Yeah, but wait until you've got absolutely nothing, and you're unhappy, and you can't feed your kids, and you can't heat your home. So, you know, how much are you going to like it then? No, but then again, once again, John, you've got to remember, you're talking to somebody who has forever lived hand to mouth, who has forever not had a pot to piss in.
Yes, you say that, but you've never lived in a depression.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm looking forward to the breadlines, I must say. You've got to laugh. You've got to laugh. Because if you don't, you'll cry.
Well, speaking of laughing...
I can't believe we're going to the New York Post so early. What's going on here?
It's Megyn Kelly, and she's maybe not right, but she's definitely not wrong.
So Megyn Kelly throws shade on the Paul Pelosi investigation. I know enough to smell a rat. I think that statement's fair.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, the news as it was presented to us changed dramatically with every telling of the tale. It's a cover up. They've now gone on. They've now said that. Well, I mean, it's the next slide, but the security cameras were not being watched, so they caught the guy entering the building, but nobody was watching the security cameras. So
very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another Epstein-ish type thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it reeks of. It just reeks. Let's just say it reeks.
It does. It really does.
It's either a setup or it's some sort of weird love nest thing gone awry.
Now, I'm gonna at risk here. I'm gonna tell you how I interpreted the police dispatch calls. Right. So I've listened to them, and I've listened to them a few times, and I see a lot of commentators on the internet saying that Paul Pelosi says that this guy is his friend, and I don't hear that in the dispatch call. What I hear, and you can all make your own assumption, but this is just my personal opinion. What I hear is Paul Pelosi saying, I don't know who this person is, because he does say that, and then saying he says he's looking for Nancy, he says his name is Dave, and that he's a friend. And what I'm getting from that is he said to Paul that he was Nancy's friend.
He didn't say he was Nancy's friend, and he didn't say he was a friend. What he said was, what Paul Pelosi said was, he didn't say that Dave said that. What he said was, and if you listen to the dispatch tape, this is what Paul Pelosi actually said.
Okay.
So he said that he didn't know who the guy. I don't know who the guy is.
Yeah, he did say that.
His name is David.
Mm-hmm.
He is a friend. That's what he actually said.
No, he said he says his name is David.
No, listen to the dispatch tape.
I have several times.
Okay, well, he said he is a friend. That's what he said.
Well,
he didn't say he said he's a friend. He said he is a friend.
Well, that's very interesting.
And then the dispatcher said he sounded confused.
So what we've got here is so many interpretations of what's said here, and also we don't actually have it from the horse's mouth. What we have are dispatchers talking to one another. What I would be interested in hearing is the actual 911 call. I want to hear what Paul said out of his own mouth, and that's something that's not been released yet. I don't know if it ever will be, but until they do that, you can't put this situation to bed. Speculation is gonna be rife. People are speculating an affair on either part. They don't really know which. People are speculating many things, but until we hear that 911 call in his own words, we won't know what is actually said. And that bothers me a little bit, to be honest.
The whole thing's a mishmash. You're never going to get to the bottom of this. You're never going to understand the truth.
No.
Whether it's a setup by government, a kind of false flag, if you will.
Yeah.
Or if it's some kind of weird tryst gone wrong.
Well, the thing that bothers me the most, and I'm going to be careful with what I say here, is that politicians appear to be using it for political clout. And that bothers me.
Oh, come on. I mean, when's a politician never use something for political clout? I mean, if they can take an edge, they'll take it. I mean, look at your pal Chuck. He was in there straight away. I've had death threats because of this. Why are people threatening Chuck with death because of what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband?
No, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, makes no sense whatsoever. The whole thing's a bag of shite when it comes to these others just jumping on the bandwagon, and that's all they're doing. Jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can sway the midterms, because that's basically what they're saying.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can get some extra votes in the midterms.
They're going, look at these MAGA Republicans. Look what they did.
Speaking of midterms, when are they?
So the midterms, okay, the midterms are next Tuesday, so 6 days from now, and as people may already know or may not know, we will be live covering the election results as they come in all night on the 8th of November. We're actually going to start the show around 11 p.m. I know a lot of you might be in bed.
I thought you were going to break into a Lionel Richie song there.
Which one would you like me to sing, John?
Well, it would need to be all night long, wouldn't it?
All night long, all night long, yeah.
I'm not. I don't recall Lionel Richie wearing a hat from the House of.
From the Hollywood Tower Hotel.
Terror. Yeah.
But
Anyway,
it is.
So
everyone you meet, they're dancing in the street all night long. Now I've got it in my head. You see.
We'll be there.
Yes, please do come along and support us on that show. We would really, really appreciate it. The coffee machine is going to be working overtime that night. I've already got several litres of water ready for it, but we're going to give it a go. We're going to watch along. We're going to give you the results. We're going to have a laugh. Hopefully there are going to be some guests as well. So shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
To Mr. Putin. What is Mr. Putin doing now?
Putin! Well, so the UK has said that the Kremlin has not provided evidence to support the claims that Britain was behind the ruptures on the Nord Stream pipelines, which have threatened to put the multi-billion-dollar gas link permanently out of use.
Okay.
So the Kremlin's waiting on an expert assessment. They haven't decided whether they're going to build it, but whether they're going to fix it or not. Sweden ordered additional investigations to be carried out, and they concluded that it's not working due to the result of explosions.
Really? That they concluded that?
Yeah, that's what
really?
But they didn't conclude who might be responsible.
I mean, the mind boggles, John.
I know. Rishi Sunak has said that that Moscow's claims that Britain is to blame is an attempt to distract from the situation in Ukraine and is part of the Russian playbook. Well, that he's going to say that, isn't he? Obviously, we are carefully monitoring the situation, but it's right not to be drawn into these sorts of distractions, which is part of the Russian playbook, Mr. Sunak's spokesman told reporters. But here's the best part. They continue their indiscriminate bombardment of civilians and attacks on civilian infrastructure. That is our focus.
Well, whilst we're over there, and this is not on the list, but Americans have got boots on the ground, military boots on the ground in Ukraine now, haven't they? The Pentagon announced this yesterday. They've gone in as investigators and people to chaperone the American weapons deliveries. And now I'm going to give you a bold prediction here, and this is a bold prediction. Russians have been targeting the weapons drops and the weapons deliveries. Yeah, that's evident. That's happening. Now, those weapons deliveries and weapons drops are going to be accompanied by US soldiers.
Yeah.
This seems to me like possibly we could see some US soldiers end up brown bread.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's war.
This is what your country thinks of you, US soldiers. You are nothing but cannon fodder. You'll be put in harm's way. So that, and this is exactly how it's going to work. You're going to get killed, so they then have an excuse to actually go to a hot war.
Yeah,
and
this is
need to fight through a proxy anymore.
It's actually quite terrifying, isn't it? That
welcome to World War III.
You can almost see it playing out in real time. It's and this is why, by the way, we support no governments on this show. Because they're doing. Look what they think of you. Look what they think of you.
Don't give a shit.
You, the person.
So the problem then, right? As soon as America starts taking action against Russia, China's going to move in Taiwan.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So America takes action against Russia. China moves on Taiwan. America's suddenly got two theaters of war.
Yeah.
Right. And you've got China and Russia versus the West.
It's great for an economic reset, isn't it?
Sorry?
Great for an economic reset.
Yeah, well, yeah. So China and Russia versus the West. And when we say the West, it's really China and Russia versus America.
Yeah, and everyone else gets dragged in.
You'll find that Australia and New Zealand may end up Chinese. Under Chinese control at some point.
Well, the Belt and Road Initiative has made its way nicely into Australia, hasn't it? Yeah,
China will have half of Africa. America will be left with, if they're lucky, they'll be left with themselves and half of Europe.
Yeah.
If not, Europe will be wiped out. And America might find Chinese boots on the ground at some point.
And do you know what? We don't say all these things lightly. We don't say all these things with joy. We would prefer none of this occurs, right? Your governments, they don't care about you. I've said it a million times. I've said it over and over again. These are people. They are narcissists, right? All they care about is power, control, influence, and wealth. They do not care about you. Yeah. They will sacrifice you for that.
And there are other things to bear in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
You must bear in mind that America underwent a massive treatment program amongst its armed forces.
Right.
Right? Using Pfizer's products,
Mm-hmm.
mainly. China didn't use any
No.
mRNA vaccines. None at all. They
Okay.
built their own, their Sinopharm thing.
Yep.
And it's not an mRNA.
And take from that what you will. We will say no further on that situation. But speaking of Russia and Britain, this from Dagny Taggart on Twitter. The British ambassador will be summoned to the Russian Foreign Ministry in connection with the attacks on Sevastopol. They were coordinated, allegedly, by Britain, from Maria Zakharova.
Yeah, so this is the drone, isn't it? The aquatic drone attacks on the Russian ships. So
yeah,
they seem to think UK's got something to do with it, and UK seems to be again possibly acting as the useful idiots of America. You know, we'll do the dirty work. We'll do the dirty work. We'll get blamed for it, and America will go, "Oh, we didn't know anything of the kind."
Special relationship.
Yeah. The boys will do it, you know. Just let the Brits do it. They're a bit gung ho. They'll get right in there. They'll get down and dirty, and we'll just go, "Oh, sorry, don't know anything about it. It wasn't our fault." Well, and this is the part that gets me about America, because America's never had an invasion, and that's the part that China knows. And I think if China gets boots on the ground in America, I think the place could go really, really wrong, really, really quickly, because I don't think they've got the fight in them anymore.
Well, I think they would be making a mistake, and this is just my personal opinion, but I think they would be making a mistake for boots on the ground in southern states, where everyone and their mums are armed to the hilt.
There's a difference between well, everybody in Switzerland's armed to the hilt, right? Now, there's a difference between a civilian being armed and being attacked by coordinated, well-led and trained soldiers.
Oh no, I absolutely agree with you, but I definitely think there's a fight to be had there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I could be completely off the mark. Hopefully I am. I am.
Because we don't need any of this, right?
No, we don't.
What we want to do is we want to look at world events, have a laugh, and enjoy it. I don't want to be coming to you from some actual undisclosed bunker somewhere underground because, it is what it is. I want to be continuing to do this. I want to prosper. I want my children to prosper. I want the planet to prosper. But these narcissists that call themselves your governments, that call themselves your leaders, that you, for a lot of the time, quote unquote, elect into power, do not represent you. They do not care about you.
Remember, if any of this does pan out, we won't be doing anything because we'll be off the air.
Oh yeah.
There won't be any communications. There won't be any internet.
You might.
I mean, the undersea cables will be cut. It'll be hacked. I mean, there just won't be anything left. There'll be no infrastructure. I mean, Russia's already said that they're perfectly. They feel entitled and will attack our infrastructure by any means possible.
That's terrifying.
That's what they said. That's what Putin said.
So one thing I would suggest to people quite strongly is fall back in love with cash, because if they start downing your internet and your infrastructure and your payment systems, the only way you're going to be able to purchase items is with cash. So fall back in love with cash, and fall back in love with cash pretty damn quickly.
See, if they bring down the infrastructure, right, no one's prepared, okay? No one's prepared. No one has enough cash to go and buy stuff.
Yeah.
So people will run out of food really quickly.
Yeah.
So you're going to very quickly run into the situation where people are effectively going into supermarkets and taking what they need. And that then leads to the situation where we end up with police and army and things trying to defend supermarkets, and you end up with your own population fighting your defense forces. And that's exactly what Russia and China want.
Of course
because
it is.
then that makes us an easy target.
Of course it is. Mass panic, mass civil unrest, mass. Of course it is. But
and speaking of civil unrest and mass panic and how to control that, New Zealand is your model government, aren't they?
is that what this video is, John?
Yeah. This is a New Zealand spokesperson.
So
telling people what to look out for.
Let's sit back for a couple minutes, relax, and have a look. Let's watch, shall we? Let's watch together.
Our Secret Service is launching an initiative to help us identify people who may have been radicalised.
Know the Signs details dozens of indicators that a friend or family member could be planning a terror attack. As Adam Hollingworth reports, the move comes as our spy chiefs identify a new and worrying type of terrorism.
Time was when the intelligence services were never seen, never heard. But now they're loudly proclaiming your country needs you to keep an eye on those you know and, if necessary, dob them in.
Recognising a potential warning sign and then alerting NZSAS or police could be the vital piece in the puzzle that ultimately saves lives.
To that end, they're publishing a guide called Know the Signs to help us all identify potential terrorists in our midst.
To pay attention and to be alert so that if they see or hear about something that seems off, that worries them and concerns them, they might have a look at this information to say, does this indicate to me that this person is on the road to actually committing an attack?
The SIS has listed around 50 signs, from obvious ones, like writing on a weapon, as happened in Christchurch, to
a person who is really developing an us versus them worldview.
Authorities say they're usually closely monitoring 40 to 50 potential terrorists. These people used to be motivated by their white identity or by their faith. But in the past 6 months, a third group has emerged, those motivated by politics.
And so it could be the COVID measures that the government took, or it could be other policies that are interpreted as infringing on rights. And it's what I sometimes describe as a kind of hot mess of ideologies and beliefs, fueled by conspiracy theories.
The launch of the initiative Know the Signs is an indicator that the security services know that they can't do it alone. They need the help of the public. But to some, the guide is a first step only.
How do we upskill those people in our community who are much closer to people who might be potentially radicalised and get them to understand what it is they're seeing? That's our challenge.
Adam Hollingworth, News Hub.
What did you just make me watch?
What'd you make of that, Ben? What'd you make of that, then?
I think that's very dangerous. I think that is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, some good terms on there, and Milton Mushrooms picked up on one of them.
I don't understand. Okay, so if you're against mass repression and oppression of the public, you're a terrorist?
Seems to be.
And people are just going to accept this.
Well, they've accepted everything else. Why would they stop now?
New Zealand, my friends, you are not free. You do not live in a free nation. You do not have the right to think and speak and feel as you'd like. And do you know what? I'm going to say something here. This might once again be quite controversial, but what is more likely to create a backlash or a violent event is stuff like this. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. People want to be heard. And do you know what? If you tell people that your opinion is terrorism, your opinion is this, that and the other, they're going to get frustrated, they're going to get angry, and they're going to lash out. And am I saying that they should? Absolutely not, first of all. But these people are dangerous. You should not have these people in charge of you. And there are some, like you say, there's some key points in there, like white identity. So, are you not...
There's only so much you can say. I mean, it's like
I don't get it. Why
You've heard the thing, right? You've heard the thing. That's how these people think, and really, this is happening not just in New Zealand. This just doesn't apply to New Zealand. This applies worldwide. The left, and I say the left because they're predominantly left-leaning governments that are implementing this, and I have to include the Conservatives among that.
Yeah.
Because everybody's implementing the same thing. They're all going down the same route. And really, it is the end times for Western civilization, because you can't survive this kind of thing. You end up as a dictatorship or a tyranny, and eventually people have no options but to take matters into their own.
What I don't get, and I'm just gonna focus in on that white identity thing, right? Just for a minute, and not even really so much as on that. So according to this guide, people who celebrate their black or Asian identity, should they be classed as terrorists? Because we see that all of the time, right? You hear about the black community, the Asian community.
No, you get a free pass if you're coloured.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It doesn't, right?
You get a free pass.
But if people want to celebrate their own identity, doesn't matter who they are. They should be able to. But they should be able to. You can't have one rule for one and one for another.
Well, yes, you can, because we have it. We have those rules right now. We have one rule for one.
Then they need to be called out. It needs to be called out.
Yes, they do, but they're not. They're not being called out. They're not being called out by government. They're not being called out by the media, and they're not generally being called out by people. So, who's calling them out apart from us? Because that's what's happening just now. You're getting one rule for one and one rule for another, and people are accepting it and moving on. And that's the danger, because people are accepting it, they're normalising it and moving on. And that is the end days.
Yeah, no,
it really is.
I don't see an issue with what you're saying here, and many people will. Many people will, because those are the types of people that support this type of behaviour. But it is creating a two-tiered society that says one group cannot celebrate themselves while all of the others can. It's singling out one group of people, and it is. It is.
It is.
And what is it?
Some would say it's karma, right? Because
I say it's racist.
Yes, it is.
Sorry.
It is.
An old friend of mine once attacked me on Twitter, and he said to me, "You can't be racist to white people." And I said, "That's it. Conversation's over."
Yeah.
Conversation is, of course you can. You can be racist. Anybody can be racist to anybody else of a different race.
Yes, but having said that, if you are racist to white people, nobody calls you out on it.
No, usually
and you get away with it. That's the problem.
Usually you get a job on mainstream media or something. Anyway.
Right, so
should we move on?
Shall we move on, indeed? So I'd like to bring your attention to this woman, Julie Powell, who was a food writer, and tried to. She was writing about making food from that Julia Child's book. She tried to make all the things from that for her kids. So she didn't seem to, So one, she's either not a very nice person, or she just says things that she thought was popular way back in the day, like she would argue that CV did kill some of the right people, which in her opinion appeared to be anti-vaxxers and anti-measure people. So she seemed to think that it was okay for them to die, which is not very nice.
No.
Right? And then she last tweeted on the 25th of October. She said she woke up with a literally black hairy tongue. And people, including her doctor, seem to think it's no big deal and it will go away soon. But it's certainly gross.
Well,
and the next day, she died.
Well, I'm not a fan of people dying.
No. She was only 49.
That sucks. That sucks. And even if she has said some very, very nasty things, which she has, very clearly.
Yeah.
Which she should have.
Sudden cardiac arrest, apparently.
But do you know what? I get banned off Twitter for calling people that attacked me for being disabled bigoted C-words, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she gets promoted on Twitter for saying, I would argue that Coof does kill some of the right people. The anti-vaxxers, maskers are dying in legions, and she doesn't get kicked off for that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say that this shows the freaking left-wing bias of a social media, because I guarantee you this woman was of the Democrat persuasion. Am I right?
I would imagine so.
I would imagine so, indeed.
Anyways, rather than dwell on that, let's move on to Black Gary's Gaff of the Week.
Hey! Black Gary's Gaff of the Week. Ba-da-da-da. Black Gary's Gaff of the Week. Gary Lineker, bewildering how a young woman is attacked for trying to save human beings from extinction.
Extinction, right? So he's talking about Greta being attacked.
Of course he is.
Because, and let's hold on a minute, it wasn't Greta's tweet, it was Jeremy Vile's tweet.
Yeah.
Right? Where she appeared to be sitting on his knee.
Yep.
And he got pasted for that tweet.
Yep.
And I think he deleted it and then put one where he was standing beside her. And then made out that people were slagging the tweet where he was standing beside her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Black Gary just seems to have completely disregarded the possibility, however faint that possibility might be, that maybe the vitriol wasn't really targeted against Greta, but was more targeted against Jeremy Vile.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to think that this could be a possibility, John.
But Black Gary's not a rocket scientist, is he?
Black Gary's a crisp salesman.
Yeah.
He sells you the crisps, the Walker's crisps. He likes the crisps. You know, I quite like her. Apparently, Black Gary's still going to Qatar.
Yeah, well, he's on to millions for that. Of course he is.
Yeah, of course he is, you know.
Right. Prison advert.
Before we do move on, John, turn off your bloody speakers.
Prison advert. Why didn't you tell me that earlier?
Because I only just realised.
Prison advert banned for racial stereotyping because it was a black prisoner and a white officer.
What? So, if the inmate had been white, chavvy skinhead, that would have been okay because that wouldn't have been stereotyping.
Well, having said that, is it stereotyping if the facts actually back up the fact that there's more people of that colour as inmates than there are white people?
There might not be.
There's more people as white prison officers than there are black ones.
Right. So let's actually dig down into. Let's not go into the numbers, but let's clarify what you mean there, because there are probably, as a whole, more white people in prison. Right?
Yeah, there are.
But if you mean by proportion of, so.
But then, see, the problem then is they always need a black person in an advert these days, because you don't get adverts with just white people. Are very, very rarely.
It's very rare because the advertising companies have all gone woke and they've got diversity quotas and ESG scores that they have to adhere to.
So what they've actually done is made the advert the wrong way round.
Well, they should have had the black prison officer and the white prisoner, because then that would have been absolutely fine, wouldn't it?
Well, from a woke point of view, but from a representative point of view, probably not. But hey, you know what? It's good to see people getting things wrong all the time.
I don't care. And that's my answer to all of it. I simply don't care. Wow, it's all right. Didn't they use a real prison officer and a real prisoner as well? I believe they did, rather than actors. Yeah.
Oh, well, so it's a real person that's actually in jail, and a real prison officer actually works in a jail, but that's been banned because it racially stereotyped, even though the people were actually real.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Rumble. You like Rumble, don't you?
Hi, Rumble. We are live on Rumble right now. If anybody is watching, I can't see a chat if there is one, but hi.
Macron doesn't like Rumble.
No, France doesn't like Rumble by the looks of it. Here's a statement from Rumble. I'll read it.
Well, actually, it's better than that. It's the fact that Macron or the French government demanded they remove any Russian content.
Yeah.
And while Rumble may not have an awful lot of Russian content on it, they said no.
Yeah, so
if
here we go.
If you don't want to read Russian content on Rumble, then we'll just turn off Rumble in France.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done.
I mean, that's integrity.
That's good. I applaud Rumble for that.
I do. I applaud Rumble as well. And if you would like to go and subscribe to us over on Rumble, you can do so at rumble.com/Dissent Media. That's rumble.com/Dissent Media. And we would really appreciate having your subscription over there, just in case we get taken down anywhere else. We will still be streaming over on Rumble. It is our preferred platform of free speech choice when it comes to the live streams. We know that they're not going to censor us. We're pretty certain at this point that they're not going to censor us. And statements like this back that up. And I mean, Stephen Crowder, Louder with Crowder, is currently banned off YouTube, by the way.
Again?
Yeah. And Rumble even themselves put out a statement saying that one of the biggest conservative podcasters is censored from YouTube right before the midterm elections. They will have a home here. And
that's good.
They are streaming over on Rumble. Obviously, we've got people like Russell Brand streaming over on Rumble with his show, where he does pretty much this, but talks like this pretty much 5 days a week. Yeah, like this. Hey, I'm Russell. And people are slowly but surely seeing Rumble as a good platform. And do you know what? I've been championing Rumble to John and Adam for what, a year and a half now? I've been saying constantly, this is the one. This is going to be the one that competes against YouTube. And if they continue doing stuff like this...
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
So, staying in Europe, Brussels have had to reiterate to the bastard that no, if you join Europe, your policy as a new member states you must legally commit to join the euro single currency. You can't use the pound. You can't make up your own money. You have to use theirs.
We told her.
So she's wrong again. She's
always
consistently wrong in everything she does. She's been told that this doesn't work. She's been told she can't do that.
Yep.
And yet she's in this little microcosm of people and surrounded by advisors who basically just say yes to her. Because
no, what she does. No. I can simplify what she's doing, John.
Well, I think she is a bully.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what she's doing is she's just being disruptive because she knows there's no chance of an independent Scotland.
Yeah.
But she just keeps working away to try and keep herself in the news.
Look, even if there was a chance of an independent Scotland, right? And Nicola Sturgeon it can boil down to one simple thing. She's lying to you. She's lying to you. She knows, because she's said it so many times. We won't have to. We're going to rejoin the European Union. We won't have to join the Euro. We won't be part of Schengen. We'll still be our own independent nation. It's all bollocks. She absolutely knows it. If you were to go independent up your way and then sign back into the European Union, if they'll even have you, by the way, because that's not even a given. That's not even a guarantee.
Well,
but
I mean, the whole thing's just a big it's just a big gaslighting scheme because she's not getting a referendum.
Yes.
And if she did, they would still vote against her, so it's never going to happen. So the whole thing is basically gaslighting on a grand scheme. It's just to keep herself in power and to keep her own nest feathered. Yeah. And we're back to what's the point of government? Keep you in control, feather your own nest. Absolutely. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely right, my friend. You are bang on the money every single time when you make that statement. It is... She lies to you constantly. Nicola Sturgeon, just like every other politician, is a liar. They tell you mistruths. They give you misinformation. They tell you... alternative facts is another phrase that's been bandied about a lot.
Alternative facts.
Alternative facts, yeah.
Right. Speaking of alternative facts, it's just another bland cause of the month because they just pick things at random now, don't they? And say this is such and such month. This is such and such month. So this month is Islamophobia Awareness Month.
Says who?
Well, I don't know, but Angela Rayner and Jeremy Corbyn have both said it. So anyway,
I don't care what Angela Rayner or Jeremy Corbyn say.
well, okay, the Labour Party then, right? So they're saying it's Islamophobia Awareness Month. Now, this is the part I don't get, right?
Mm-hmm.
It appears nowadays, because of wokeness and ESG and all that you can't actually disagree with anything without being phobic about it. Now, I think that is completely wrong, because I might not like Islam. Whether I do or not doesn't matter. If I say I don't like Islam, I suddenly am Islamophobic. I don't want to be a trans, right? So that makes me transphobic. I'm not gay. I'm obviously homophobic. So as soon as you don't actually like something, you're suddenly phobic about it. No, I just don't like it, right? I mean, I don't like peanut butter and jam sandwiches. I'm obviously peanut and jam phobic about it. The whole thing's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't like any organised religion.
Yeah, well, you're obviously religiously phobic.
It's not to say that I don't support people that want to believe in their organised religion.
Oh, I don't care if people support their organised religion or not. It's up to them, right?
Yeah.
It's an individual choice. And there are loads of things that you like that I don't like. I don't like Monster drinks. Am I sugar phobic? I don't like Red Bull. Am I Red Bull phobic?
Yes.
You know, I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. I don't like tea.
Neither do
Am
I.
I tea phobic?
We both are on that one, John.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is absolutely freaking ridiculous. You can't actually dislike something now.
I don't like vegetables. Am I vegan phobic?
I don't like people that don't like vegetables. No, the whole thing is... It really is crazy, and it's just another bandwagon for people to jump on.
It's not even another bandwagon for people to jump on. It's just another way to divide us. That's
Yeah,
all
no,
it
that
is.
is.
To
And
keep
the
us
problem-
arguing, to keep us fighting, to keep us divided, divide and bloody conquer.
But the problem with things like this is that they start allowing things to happen that do not reconcile with Western society, right? So you start allowing things like local implementations of Sharia law. You know? Banks that will only deal with people of that religion because they don't allow usury, and then you end up with a separate society within society.
Yeah.
And what does that cause? That causes division and people to resent them.
Yeah.
And then you end up with a proper civil war in effect, and that's what's going to happen. And then, and this might sound phobic, but if you read their manual.
No, no.
Right? If you read
I'm
their
staying out of
manual-
this.
But if you read their manual, it tells you exactly how to go about taking over another country.
I know nothing of this, and it's not something that I would like to dig into right now. That's all I'm going to say.
It's maybe something you should read, because it's important to know what's going on in the world, and there are a lot of people that read that manual and follow that manual, and that's the problem.
So my stance is very clear. If somebody demanded that I believe in, adhere to, or follow the doctrines of any organised religion, the answer is simply no. If you want to, you go ahead, but leave me out of it.
Okay, but that becomes difficult, right? It becomes difficult if someone turns up at your door and says, are you going to convert? And they're holding a machete.
I'd go, hold on, 1 minute. I'll give you your answer in a sec.
Yeah, but you don't have a gun. That's the problem. Or a bat against the machete is not.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah,
better than
okay,
nothing.
but you think about it. And that's not something that doesn't happen, because all you need to do is go to Africa and read recent histories. And when I say recent histories, in the last few years.
Okay, well, let's...
No longer than 10, right? So there's plenty There's plenty of information out there. And the problem is, we continue not doing this. We continue ignoring the lessons of history and then thinking that we can make the same mistakes and things will have a different outcome. Because it appears to me that when we ignore the lessons of history and we carry on as if things are going to work out differently this time, they really don't. And we end up in the same shit that we already knew about 20, 30, 40, 100, 200 years ago. So we're going to end up repeating history again, and it never works out well for us. And when I say us, I mean the regular people, the people that actually count and the people that are the major part of society.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, go on then.
Let's move on to Elon Musk, who has now rebadged himself. What has he rebadged himself on Twitter? He's the chief operator of Twitter complaints line or something.
Yeah, I think that was the last slide, so well done. You've just negated that one. We'll
get there again.
So there you go, yeah. So keep complaining, but it will cost £8.
Well,
and
$8.
This is the thing that gets me. So Adam says he's had people messaging him today saying, I'm leaving Twitter. I've left Twitter. Yeah, great. All 4 of you. But they tweet this all the time. I mean, Stephen King's been leaving Twitter for like 2 years. I wish he'd hurry up.
The way that he trolled Stephen King was just bloody glorious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not paying $20 a month for my blue check mark. Right. So here's what is on offer for your $8 a month. And I believe this system, actually, they're going to try and implement it within the next fortnight, I might add.
Yeah.
So for $8, you will be verified with a blue check mark. You will have all of your tweets promoted as if being verified, so you'll get all of the benefits that come with a verified check mark. You will be able to post longer form video. Hello.
And audio.
And audio. And, he wants to do it so that he can cut out the advertisers, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
because the problem, I mean, Twitter as an advertising platform doesn't work because the first thing you do when you see an advert is
scroll
you block
past it.
No, you block it, so you don't see that advert again, right? So I must have a block list of like thousands of adverts that I never see. And every time I see a new advert, I just block it. So as an advertising platform, there's a major flaw in there. So you either got to do one or two things. You've either got to start charging people to use it or stop people blocking adverts.
No, you're absolutely right. And do you know what? If he gives me back, I say if they give me back my accounts, right? Because you've also got to remember, trust works both ways. Okay? So I will, and people can say what they want, but I will give, if they give me back Ministry, Dissent and Disabled Journo, 2 accounts that should never have been banned from that platform. Should never have been banned from that platform. I will pay him his $8 a month. I will. But it's on the condition that this shit never happens again, right? They trust works both ways, and right now I'm not sure how much I trust because he hasn't unblocked anybody.
Why would you trust him? He's a businessman. Why would you trust him?
He is a businessman.
I mean, it'll either work out or it won't work out. All you can do is wait and see, right?
The people he's been speaking to about moderation concern me gravely. They're all far leftists.
Yeah, okay. But, I mean, Elon Musk isn't terribly right-wing.
No, he's not right-wing at all.
Yeah.
But do you know what? No. Okay, I'm going to interrupt you there.
Oh, God.
Because that statement bothers me massively. Because when did the right have a monopoly on free speech? When was free speech? When did free speech become a right-wing ideal? Because in my mind, it was always a left-wing ideal. Or at least a centre ground ideal. But now if you talk about freedom, you talk about free speech, you talk about wanting open discourse, dialogue, you're instantly called far right. What the hell has happened? Because I'm unsure. Honestly. I'm really, really unsure. It was always the left wings of free love, man. You know, hippies were always left wing. But now we have people calling themselves the left, wanting to enact fascist, authoritarian controls on your speech, on your thoughts, on your discourse, on your rhetoric. Doesn't make any sense. Banana Monarchy says the current left wing is establishment controlled. That's why. Well, then it's not left wing, is it? Because as far as I'm concerned, censorship is not a left wing ideal. As far as I'm concerned, whoever's done this has played an absolute blinder to make people actually believe that the idea that we could have a free and open discussion and conversation is a far right ideal. It is nothing of the sort. And if people genuinely believe that, I feel so sorry for how brainwashed they actually are. Now, one of the arguments you will see, one of the arguments you will hear is, oh, you just want to say this word, or you just want to say that word, or you just want to be racist or insulting or anything like that. No, in fact, I do want to hear people saying racist things. I don't have to agree with those racist things. I won't agree with those racist things. But at least I know where they're coming from. Because in this world of censorship, do you think people with those ideals just stop having them? They put on a suit, they put on a tie, they go to work, and you never know. And then you could be friends with Grandmaster of the Clan for all you know. You wouldn't know.
I must apologise for that.
It's okay, John. We understand.
Sometimes these things happen.
I just went on quite a really good rant. So
jolly good.
Yeah.
Did you speak about, what did you, are you still on Muskies?
No, I'm on the idea that it was a problem I have with what you said, him being right wing, because when the fuck did the right have the monopoly on free speech?
Well, they don't, but the problem is the left have taken away free speech.
Yes, they have. And now they've played this blinding game where they make people believe that if you are for free and open discourse, you are far right. Yeah, it's a blinder, isn't it? They've played a blinder.
Yeah, well,
it's not true, but they've played a blinder.
Look at the thing from New Zealand earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like? I mean, that was incredible. I mean, if you disagree with government policies, then you're potentially a terrorist.
And like I just said...
So that's like... I mean, just think about that for a minute. If you disagree with the policies that your government has implemented, you're potentially a terrorist? That's a big step.
They are dangerous. People espousing this rhetoric are dangerous. They're dangerous.
Yeah, that's a big step for anyone to take.
And like I just said, you know, I said it in context. Yes, I do want to hear people saying racist things because I don't like racists and I want to know who they are.
No,
it's as simple. It's
racists.
It's as simple as that. Apparently we've frozen, though we're streaming just fine. So
I seem to be streaming fine here.
Yeah, I think it's just on Chrissy's end. So our apologies for that. Oh. But I don't know, man. I don't know. The brainwashing seems to be complete. Let's move on to our next slide. What do we have here? This is from Pearson Sharp. UK government data reveals that the triple treated make up 9% of all COOF deaths this year. Fully treated make up 90% of COOF deaths since 2021. Oh, sorry, 91%. My apologies. I didn't read that right. My eyesight is shite. But That's what this person is saying. I can neither confirm or deny that, but
Well, no, it's not what the person's saying. It's what the Office of National Statistics has said, right? Now, the thing is, when you read these statistics, you have to bear in mind that
the vast majority of people have had it.
Yeah, and that's not giving you a cause of death.
No.
So you don't know what people are dying from.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you've got to be careful, and I put this here as a cautionary tale because you have to be careful about how you interpret these things. Because if there's less, if it's one, we don't quite know how this has been
tabulated,
because is it an overall, or is it per 100,000 people, or is it per 1,000 people, whatever? In which case, that it would then seem, if that was the case, that people who haven't been treated are remarkably bereft of dying.
Yeah.
When you look at the statistics of the causes of deaths over the last year or two, then the causes of death seem to indicate that there have been massive increases in things like circulatory diseases, which is like heart attacks and stuff, and that would include strokes and whatever, and things like cancers and other forms of diseases, and a marked reduction in people that have died from respiratory disease.
You're not wrong.
Which is,
I mean, we showed the data.
Yeah, which is quite dramatic.
It is, and it's interesting. So we move on to our current Home Secretary, and her own party saying things about her. Suella Braverman has brought Home Office into disrepute, say Priti Patel allies. Accusations Home Secretary may have broken the law by failing to find enough hotel rooms for migrants.
Right, okay, I didn't realise there was a law that said you must put a migrant in a hotel room.
I didn't realise that law existed either. That's interesting, that. It's a new one on me. But
is this just the start of her getting to the point where she's going to have to either resign or be fired, in which case then we start the clock ticking on how long before Rashi has a vote of no confidence called in him.
The clock's already ticking, mate.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's yeah. I mean, they're just winding it up for the fall of this government.
He may try and hang on until spring, but I don't see this government going past then. I really don't.
I really don't understand what the Conservative Party are actually playing at, because they seem to be hell-bent on getting themselves out of power.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And I don't know why.
Maybe they don't want to be responsible for all the shit that they've caused. Maybe they don't want to be the ones to try and fix the economy that they have screwed.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose maybe in about 5 or 6 years' time, it's easier to turn around and go, look what Labour's done in the last 6 years. They made the place a shithole.
No, yeah.
And fixed it.
Yeah, and they will conveniently ignore the fact that it was their policies, their restrictions that have done what has been done to this country. Those restrictions are the reason your food costs more. Those are the restrictions are the reason that your electricity and gas cost more. Those restrictions are the reason that you are ending up in the poorhouse. And I'd like to welcome you here, because it's, you can live here, but it's not a great place to live. And if you want to help us support this show and continue to keep the lights on here, you can do so at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or indeed Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent. Links are in both the description and the chat as we speak, and we would really appreciate your support. Also, Adam will chuck you a link right now in the chat to our Discord server, where our patron-only after parties will be exclusive. In a members-only area, you will get, as a patron or a Ko-fi, access to a members-only area on that Discord. Adam is sorting it all out, and let's move on to a tweet from Don't Be Fooled.
Right, so this guy is obviously quite left-wing, and he's very pro-migrant, okay? Now, I find his argument a bit strange here, because he's focusing on this invasion word that Suella Braverman used, and to be fair, when you see people arriving en masse in dinghies, without passports, without any papers, without any identifying marks without you knowing their background or where they've come from or whatever, then it's hard to say it's not an invasion, right?
Okay.
It's certainly an invasion of at best economic migrants, right?
Well, it's certainly a rush of economic migrants, we could say that.
Yeah. So anyway, she used this term, and then he goes, was it an invasion when Home Secretary Braverman's parents arrived in the UK? Well, how are you sure that her parents immigrated to the UK in the first place? But first of all, I'm pretty sure they didn't arrive in a dinghy, and they came here legally.
Yeah.
And the same would go for Mr. Rishi Sunak's parents, right? Or Priti Patel's parents. And the next one boggles the mind because ex-Prime Minister Johnson wasn't even British.
No, he's American.
He's an American.
Alexander Boris DeFeffel Johnson is indeed an American, yes. He may have renounced his US citizenship at this point. I'm not sure. I think he did for tax reasons.
But even so, when he first went into politics, he was still an American citizen.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he was still an American citizen while he was Lord Mayor of London.
And this one gets me, right?
Yeah.
So, or rabid fascist Farage's grandparents, right? My question is this.
Did any of them come illegally?
Well, no, my question is this. Do these people that use words like fascist, I use them in their correct context, but do they actually know what these words mean? Because,
That's a good question.
Nigel Farage is an arsehole, right? I'll quite happily say that. He rubs me the wrong way, and I know people might like him, and that's absolutely fine. People are entitled to like who they want to like.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a fascist. I don't see Mr. Farage wanting to,
It seems to be that anyone who wants to control their own borders is a fascist in the eyes of some.
Yeah, but they don't know what a fascist is then. It's just a word to them.
Of course they don't, because they just ascribe a meaning to it that suits their ideology of the time. And they just use the word fascist because the first thing you think of when you say fascist is someone like Stalin, right? Or Hitler or whatever.
Mussolini.
Yeah, Mussolini. So the first thing you think of is the bad people.
Yeah, of course.
They don't, and that's why they use the term fascist, even though the meaning that they're trying to ascribe to the word doesn't actually exist.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist, and it just bothers me because so many of these words now have lost their meaning because so many people use them when they don't know. They don't know what they mean. They just hear, oh, that sounds like, oh, fascist, bad. Oh, we call him that. Yeah. I mean, that's why you see them memes, don't you? Like everyone I don't like is literally the bad person from World War II, because that's how these people think. They are unhinged. They're unhinged, and but unfortunately, these unhinged people have their fingers on the levers of power in certain places like culture and media and places like that, and that should terrify you. It really should, because that's how you get things like misgendering policies that get you banned from social media platforms. It's insane. It's insane that these people have been allowed to permeate and get control of all of your institutions. They don't care. They're not left wing. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about your right to be who you want to be or express yourself as you would like. They care about controlling you and punishing you if you don't subscribe to the orthodoxy. They're not your friends. They never will be.
No. So, you've seen the adverts for the NHS is facing the worst winter of its entire history coming, which happens every year anyway, and we did discuss that yesterday. But it appears that these boosters can now give you the ready brick glow. Do you remember the ready brick glow?
I don't, but...
Do you not remember the ready brick advert?
No.
So the boy would have his ready brick, which was some kind of mishmash of oats or something for his breakfast.
I know what ready brick is, yeah.
Yeah, he would go to work with the ready brick, or he'd go to school with a ready brick glow about him. And it appears that the boosters gives you the ready brick glow, but in the colours of Ukraine. You notice that? Everything ties together lovely, doesn't it? You know,
nice bit of subliminal messaging there, yeah.
Flu and COVID with the blue and the yellow, and it's the Ukraine colours. And as you know, we stand well. Boris does. He still stands with them, and Truss was going to stand with them, but didn't get the chance. And Sunak, he says he's going to stand with them as well. None of them seem to bother what people think.
No,
you know, whether they want us, whether they want to ask us whether we want to spend all our money on Ukraine, who appears to be pissing money away like it's going out of fashion. But hey, you know, Ukraine good, despite it being one of the most corrupt countries in Europe.
Tony Garrett says in the chat, "Ready Breck, central heating for kids" was the slogan.
That was that. Yeah.
Now we're into our last three news stories of the day, and this next one, I've just had a little glance at it, and it's pissing me right off. Did you put this in here just to piss me off?
Probably, because I thought it also goes with a half cripple will travel type thing, right? So this Norwegian chap, right, is identifies as a disabled woman, right? Despite himself being a perfectly able man. He identifies as a paralysed woman and spends most of his time wheeling himself about in a wheelchair.
Do you know what?
This is absolutely mental. This is a mental disease.
I would actually like to be able to walk around a theme park. I would like to be able to do those things and not be in intense agony. Right?
Yeah, okay, but regardless of your situation, this is a mockery of the world that we live in right now.
No, it's a mockery of disabled people.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, no, but fucking being in pain and having to use these devices, because that's what they are, devices. It's not a fucking identity. It's not.
But it is to him. The whole thing's mental. I mean, how can one understand that? How do you even start with something like that? That's what gets me.
I'll tell you a story, and this is absolutely true as well. You can look this up. This is 100% true, what I'm about to tell you. So there was a woman, I believe it was in the United States, who identified as blind. Right? Wasn't blind, could see perfectly well.
Yeah.
Identified as blind, and went for psychiatric help. And the licensed psychiatrist chucked acid in her eyes and blinded her.
What? Why?
Because she needed to be blind, and the psychiatrist agreed. So the psychiatrist assisted her in putting chemicals in her eyes to permanently blind her. And do you know what? There are people that are blind that would do absolutely anything to see. And these people make a mockery of people's ailments, of people, something that's wrong with people. I'm telling you this is absolutely true. You can go and look this up for yourself. Trans blind. For real, this happened.
Okay, right. So,
these people, like you say, these people, they don't just need psychiatric help. They're making a mockery of people who would give anything to not be in the situations that they are willingly placing themselves within. Now, I don't do this much anymore. I don't talk about being disabled much anymore, right? But you've seen it, John. I can't walk around a day, can I? Can't do it.
No, I know.
I'd like to be able to. It's just pisses me off. Pisses me right off. Shall we move on?
And so it should, actually, because these people, I mean, and from what you're saying, it's not just these people that need psychiatric help, it's the psychiatric people that are trying to help them.
They should be losing, if a psychiatrist looks at somebody who says, I need to be blind, and assists them in disabling themselves, they should lose their license. They should not be practicing. They are a danger to people.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. Anyway, let's move on to Adele reveals we've been pronouncing her name wrong.
So apparently, this is just... Where's she from? Because...
Essex.
What?
Essex.
Essex. So apparently we should be calling her Adele.
I thought she was going to say like Adelaide.
No.
Adelaide.
No. Well, I initially thought maybe she's black like Gary and we are getting it wrong, but no, apparently we should be calling her Adele, not Adele.
How's this, Adele? I'll call you whatever I feel like. It's as simple as that.
I've never heard so much nonsense in my life. I mean, Adele. She's all class, isn't she?
Ever since she lost weight, she's just got so pretentious, isn't she?
Oh, she's such a twat. She really is.
Right. Shall we move on and do our final slide properly?
Yeah, there you go. There's the one.
So Elon Musk is now the Twitter complaint hotline operator because he has decided to not give two shiny shites about people criticising the changes he's making to the platform. Now, I said to you earlier, John, I said, realistically, this guy has just spent $44 billion, so he control people, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has.
Yeah.
So apparently he's located in hell. He joined in June 2009, which, strangely enough, was just after me the first time. And he's got a slightly more followers than me at 113 million.
I mean, that's a nice little following there. A nice amount of people that you can troll. And that is, I believe, the only reason he now owns this platform.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't. But, you know, all power to the man.
And you see the background there, he's obviously got the idea that he's going to terraform Mars.
Yeah, you know, that's what his dream is, isn't it? That's his goal. It's something he's always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
watching too much Total Recall, I think.
We have ran about 18 minutes over today.
We have, yeah.
And going forwards, we are going to do that a bit more. But after the 1 hour point, we will be going into Discord, which is free for you to join, by the way, and Adam will put the link in the chat. We'll be going into our Discord server and doing a second part, sometimes, not all the time, but a second part of our show for members only, within the members only section. And the way you become a member, past the regular member of the Discord, which is free, and you can chat about anything you want, it's our little slice of free speech haven, is you support us on patreon.com/Chasing Dissent or Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent, and we make you, we give you access, or Adam gives you access to the members only sections that will appear on the Discord server, and the second parts of some of the shows. I know it's a ball ache, but we really want to keep the lights on over here. So if anybody could help out, we would really appreciate it. And also, if you're not subscribed, liking or sharing, well, you should be. John?
And with that, I'd like to thank you one and all for attending this episode 154 of Chasing Dissent Live. Good day to you. See you tomorrow.
That's all we've got time for this evening, so it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Stop playing with my bust!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy.
You're a what?
A pianist!
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
You have been a delightful audience. So, good night. Thank you.
Oh, my bottom hurts. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob.
Oh, I did love that hamster so. I took it into bed with me every night, you know.
Good night, everybody.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to go now. I've been standing here for a very long time. I think the end of the show must have come and gone.
There you go. That's our solar system.
You forgot Uranus.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening. You've been very nice to work to.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.